Good evening, I'm Kara Shovlin, and this is From the Scotchwood, where I sit down with members of the local community and find out what's going on in their world. And tonight, I'm talking with Dr. Lydia Abrams from the Resolve Community Counseling Center right here in Scotch Plains. Thank you, Dr. Abrams, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, let's start by finding out a little bit more about you. What's your background, and how did this all come to be becoming a part of Resolve?
Well, I'm a psychologist. I'm a licensed psychologist. I have a private practice aside from being executive director of Resolve, but I've been with Resolve for almost exactly 11 years now, and it's a great place to be. And ask me why.
Tell me why.
It's just great. Resolve is a nonprofit community mental health center that's been in existence for 33 years. We're very small, but we have staying power.
Obviously.
And we have a great board of directors. There's been some turnover, but we've had people on our board for maybe 15 years. And they have kept the place together by doing fundraising and making decisions to keep it viable in serving the community. Initially, for the first year that Resolve existed, it was actually called DARE. So it was initially formed to help with drug and alcohol prevention, but within a year they realized that those same counselors doing that sort of work could expand their work to just helping children and families in general, and eventually it became helping the community in general with emotional problems, psychological problems, with parenting issues, again with drug and alcohol, also for adults, not just for the children, and just the whole variety of problems of life that many people will come to experience at some point or another. Very few of us go through life without any psychological problems.
Right, true. What makes the Resolve Community Counseling Center different than, say, a regular center or a regular private practice?
Well, it's not a private practice. We're nonprofit, and our goal is to provide quality services at affordable prices. And we are quality because, well, it is ensured that we are quality because we are licensed by the state, and we adhere to every law and every regulation, and our counselors must be master's level, and they must be licensed or close to it, and then being under supervision by a licensed psychologist or a licensed social worker. And we have about 12 counselors, so we can accommodate different people's schedules, and we can help people with different kinds of problems because the different counselors have different strengths. And we offer very reasonable services. We have a sliding scale fee system based on family size and income. So actually we don't turn anybody away. If people can't even afford the low end of our sliding scale, we still try to work something out with them. And
where do you get your funds? How are you able to afford to do that?
It's not easy at all, and we've had
that's your
better
job, right?
years.
You figure that out.
That's my job, yeah. I'm a psychologist, and I do clinical supervision along with one other psychologist, Dr. Gordon Bowles, who's also been with us for about 20 years. But my main job, the thing I'm most proud of, is that I keep the place going with very little money, and we do a lot of different things with that very little money. And somebody who works for the school system who knows our budget said this to me, that I'm really impressed with everything you do with the little that you have, and we do. And it's just a matter of not wasting, and also hiring counselors who aren't there to get rich. Well, they couldn't, but they're there because they like what they do, and they're really dedicated to helping, and they get intrinsic satisfaction from the work. If you have the right kind of people, you can get results. We really treat people well. When people come in, especially in the winter, they get offered hot chocolate or tea. Our office manager, by the way, we have only one administrative staff other than me, and actually she's the only full-time person at the whole agency. Everybody else is part-time, including myself, because Resolve can't afford a full-time executive director, but which is okay because I know what I'm doing, and I'm also available all the time. If need be, I can come in whenever there's a problem and I can be reached. But yeah, we're very bare bones, but we get it all done, and we're even able to deal with all the paperwork that the state throws our way, which is not fun, but just everybody has to do that.
Right, right. And your counselors, they come from all over. You have interns at times from colleges?
We have an internship program. We're known in the area colleges that we accept master's level interns. They could come from a social work program or a counseling program. And usually every semester we have 2 interns. And right now we've expanded our curriculum. We have a practicum program for a doctoral level student. This is our first person doing this. He's in a PsyD program. And so we are expanding our horizons. And with this kind of program, we could do more psychological testing and evaluations rather than just the counseling. So we very slowly and very carefully, we're moving up in life despite all the financial difficulties we're having.
Especially in this last year, I'm sure it's been difficult.
In this last year, because the little funds we had dropped in value, and also fundraising has been difficult. Mm-hmm. And I guess the reason why I'm here is I wanted to convey 2 things. I wanted to convey that we are here to help, so people should give us a chance. Give us a try if they're having a variety of problems. We could talk about that, what kind of problems we can help with, but also that we do need help also. Yeah. And we do fundraising every year. Our board members do different things to try to keep us afloat, and we are very grateful to everybody who's helped us so far, and we hope they keep it up. And we really do put the money to good use. We don't waste it.
Yes.
We don't waste it.
It sounds like it. How many counselors do you typically have on staff, and does that number stay? Do they stick around for a long time, or? I know you've been there for a long time.
I've been around, and the counselors stick around, but sometimes they don't. It depends on, and I'm understanding of that. They're part-time. We can't really hire full-time people because you have to understand we can't afford to give somebody a salary. We just pay them for the work they do. They see a client, they get paid. Mm-hmm. Client doesn't show, they still get paid a little. Mm-hmm. Then we pay them a little bit for paperwork, but we don't pay them for just being there.
Right.
So if somebody wants a job, a full-time job, we can't do it. They could possibly build up to a full-time job, and we have people who have done that at times. But we draw people who want to have a part-time job. Either they have a full-time one and they want to do something in addition, mm-hmm. or they're moms, they have children at home, and they just want to keep themselves in the field while their children are still small and they can't work more. So, but everybody who works there, they like it, they feel comfortable, they feel at home there, they have a lot of flexibility, and they're doing what they love, so it works out for everybody. And I go out of my way to let them know that I really appreciate them, and I apologize for the little money we pay them, and I say, listen, you're great, thank you for doing it anyway.
That makes a big difference.
I try.
How did you get involved personally? What brought you to Resolve?
It's not fun just to have your own private practice. It's nice to be with other people, to collaborate with other people, to have a group. And just a fluke, I guess. I just saw an ad in the newspaper and
it
looked
worked
interesting.
Out. And 11 years later, 11 years, right? You've been there 11 years?
Yeah.
And
I'm very happy, and I think the board appreciates me because I work for them. I listen to what they think should be done, and I give my input, and we just work well together. And also, I think the counselors are happy with me, I hope.
Sounds like it.
I think most of them are. I try.
Well, you do a lot of different programs. I guess we'll talk a little bit more about the programs a little bit later on, but tell me a little bit, so how do people who are watching now, how do they know if Resolve is something that could help them? Or, why would they're sitting at home and they're thinking, well, I'm having some issues with depression or anxiety. What kinds of things do you think you help people with the most, and what would you tell people out in the community of Scotch Plains about your program and what you can do for them?
Well, if somebody's having anxiety or depression or confusion or stress or arguments with their spouse, or they can't control their children, there's so many things. Or there might be abuse in the family. And basically, we are trained to handle most issues.
Right.
If you're having a tough job, but really you are overreacting to it, because two people could have the same tough job, and one person could handle it much better than the other one because of how they view the job themselves. If they have unrealistic expectations of how they should be performing, if they're perfectionistic, if their self-worth is too much tied into each and every performance that they have to give, then of course they're going to be more stressed. So there's stress is not just an external thing, it's an internal thing. It's how you view the situation, how you view yourself. And primarily what we do is cognitive behavioral therapy, which is looking at your view of things and how that contributes to how you wind up feeling and the decisions you make. So most of the time, the external situation is not the main thing that will determine your well-being. It's how you deal with it.
Right.
So we help people deal with it better.
Right. So if I'm someone sitting at home saying, I'm not dealing with it very well, then they should give you a call.
Yeah, but sometimes people don't realize that they're not dealing with it very well. They think it's all the world out to get them.
Right.
So I just ask that they consider the possibility that there might be something they're doing they're upsetting themselves.
Absolutely.
On top of whatever real life problems there are out there, because of course it's not all imagined. Usually it's not all imagined.
Right. And if it is, that's a whole other issue.
That's another issue, but we can evaluate for medication as well. We can't prescribe it, but we can evaluate for it.
And what if
I can.
What if that's necessary? What do you do from there?
Unfortunately, we don't have a psychiatrist on staff. We used to, but again, that becomes very costly for us. So we would refer outside. We have some people we refer to.
Do you find you have to do that often?
Not often, but many times. And research shows that for moderate to severe depression, for example, therapy in conjunction with pharmacological treatment is optimal. So medication by itself is not great because the person's not learning how to cope differently. And therapy by itself may not be enough because the person might be too far gone, too depressed to respond to what you have to tell them. So then you need the combination. And then it's really important for us that the person takes our recommendation for a psychiatric evaluation. Otherwise, we're wasting our time with them.
Right. And do you find that most people do take your recommendations, both to maybe get on medication and then after they do that to stay in therapy with you?
Yes, and good psychiatrists realize that and even just to make sure that the person continues to take their medication, it's good to be in therapy, because psychiatrists nowadays don't spend much time. The way the whole healthcare system is set up is that psychiatrists, well, they benefit financially more if they just do the pharmacological management. They could do therapy, but they wouldn't be as good at it. But anyway, so, well, they're not that trained in it. So what they do is they spend 20 minutes with a person once a week, and then they tell the person, take this pill every day. And what if the person doesn't feel like taking it, and they feel sort of hopeless, like this is not going to work, and I just, not doing anything for me. But if they see a therapist or psychologist every week, then that's discussed and sort of worked through, and
they can check in with how they
we
feel
can
about
optimize the benefits of the medical treatment by making sure that they take their medication.
Good. So you have a lot of resources available to you, it sounds like.
Yes.
Good. Well, you know what, I want to talk more about some of the other organizations you're sort of connected with and how that came to be, but we're going to take a quick break first, so we'll be right back after this.
Hi, I'm Michaela Campbell. You're watching Scotch Plains Television, your town, your TV.
Welcome back. I'm Kara Shovlin, and this is from the Scotchwood. And tonight I'm speaking with Dr. Lydia Abrams from the Resolve Community Counseling Center here in Scotch Plains. Thank you, Dr. Abrams. Welcome back. I wanted to ask you, sometimes people say to me, I'm in school for psychology too, so one of the things that people say to me often is that there's a stigma attached to getting psychotherapy and counseling, and that people hesitate. You know, people in my own life, I'm not going to do that. That's, you know, there's nothing to that. I'm not going to. And so a lot of people don't go and get the help that they oftentimes need and would be really beneficial to them because they feel like there's a certain stigma attached to it. Do you have an opinion about that? And do you think that's changed over the last few years at all?
I'm sure it's changed. I'm thinking a little bit, one step beyond what you asked. The question of whether it's always a good thing to get help. I don't know, because when you get help, you give up a little bit of control. You asking somebody, you're telling somebody, listen, I can't pull myself together.
Right.
So I don't want to be one of those people who says everybody should be in treatment. If something bad happens to you, you need therapy. No. If somebody dies, you can have grief, there's bereavement, it's normal. You don't need therapy. You can cry, you can be unhappy. Now, if you start feeling hopeless, feeling sad, and you're not enjoying anything in life, and you feel like your life will never be good, that's different. There are real life problems, and you don't have to be happy all the time. You could be stressed, you could be disappointed about things. When it gets to the point where you're just not able to snap out of it, come out of it on your own, then it's okay to ask for help, because then when you're done with asking for help, you will be more in control of your life than ever. Right. So it's a good deal. I think there's less of a stigma. I'll give you an example of when there's resistance. Say a woman comes in for therapy and she says, well, she's having problems with her husband, and he doesn't believe in therapy. Usually it's like that.
So strange.
He doesn't need it. There's nothing wrong with him.
Right.
So yeah, that happens. And then what I do is I trick them. I say, listen, just tell your husband that he doesn't need therapy, but you need therapy, and I need help from him to understand you better.
I like that. I like that
Which
trick.
is not truly a trick, because it's true. It's true.
Yes.
But that makes them more comfortable. They come in, they see it's no big deal. I just talk to them.
Right.
And the reality is that there's such a range of people who come for therapy. Some people have schizophrenia, bipolar disorder. They have to be on medication. Some people cannot work. They have to be on disability for the rest of their lives. But those same therapists who see those people might also see somebody who is very high functioning but going through a divorce and is a little confused, or just got fired and is a little down about their lives.
Right.
So doesn't mean you're crazy. Definitely not.
Right. Well, when you say that they come in and they see it's no big deal, what do you think people are imagining when they're thinking, I don't want to go to therapy?
Well, maybe they imagine that I will ask them uncomfortable questions, or I will look into their soul and find something ugly. I don't know. Maybe it's just fear of the unknown. But a good therapist will just bring the person around to just having a conversation.
Right.
And you establish that rapport, and the person will feel comfortable just discussing it. You discuss it and with somebody who's objective and who might have some good suggestions. And sometimes you don't even need the suggestions, because by talking to somebody who is just not biased in any way, you come to the realization of what you need to do yourself.
Right.
So there's many ways we can help, and it's really not painful.
And it's not magic. So
it's not magic.
It's not
all right,
good
point. Good point. It's not magic either.
Well,
but
in that it's
bad.
not scary. It's not.
Yeah.
You know, it's not something very
When parents,
mystical and.
when parents bring their children and they say, "Don't worry, it's not that kind of doctor. No needles."
Yeah, no needles either.
No needles. No, not allowed to do that. No.
Well, like you said, you work with a wide array of people.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you obviously, you've mentioned before to me that you work with different organizations, the courts and DIFUS and different alcohol programs.
That's why we have a lot of fun, because we have a lot of different kinds of clients. Yeah.
Tell me about some of those and how that happens, how that works.
Well, many years ago, Resolve got together with several other similar agencies in Union County, community mental health centers, and we formed a consortium, and Resolve became the lead agency of this consortium. And we came in contact with Union County Family Court, and we offered our services to them, because often the poor judges don't know what to do with these people, because she said this and he said that, and they don't know who's right and who's wrong. And there's a lot of deceit going on, unfortunately, because there's a lot at stake when people are divorcing, or there's violence in the family. So we are helping the legal system figure it all out. So they send people to us either for evaluations or for therapy, for couple counseling, or for anger management, or for what's called visitation risk assessments, for us to determine whether or not it's safe for this child to see the parent they haven't seen in a year, who maybe a year ago exhibited some aggressive behavior. Or what we do is, once we determine that, okay, it's okay for this child and this parent to get together, however, there might be some tweaking to be done. So it would be best if it was done under supervision, and even better if it was done under supervision of a counselor. So those things are called therapeutic visitations. So counselor sits with the parent and child, newly reunited after maybe a year or two, and supervises and maybe gives suggestions if, say, the parent doesn't know how to deal with a child's problem at the moment, and say that's appropriate, that's not appropriate. So we sort of do parenting and observing at the same time. Then we write a letter to court and say, okay, green light, this parent can see this child unsupervised. Or they might need more parenting education.
Right.
Or there's some other problem that we uncovered.
Well, you also work with kids locally in the school system. You have a school intervention program. Can you tell me what that is?
We have a very long-standing relationship with the Scotch Plains Fanwood Public Schools. For over 20 years, we've been working actually within the schools. We do short-term assessments and short-term counseling. For many years, we were working at all the schools. Unfortunately, 5 years ago, funds were cut drastically, so our grant was cut in half, and now we're only at the elementary schools. There are 5 elementary schools, and even though some things were cut, but now we do a little bit more at the elementary schools. We don't just do the individual counseling, we actually do classroom guidance lessons on topics such as bullying, how to deal with bullies, how not to be a bully, how to communicate, how to make friends. Social issues are a big thing with children, and if they're not comfortable with each other socially, it's hard for them to concentrate on academics. The whole program is geared towards helping children benefit from their academic experience. But before they're ready to do that, they have to be okay emotionally. And so we go in the classrooms, we do lunchtime groups. We always do groups for kids who are new to the school, to get them sort of used to the place and to issues they might be facing.
So you don't go into all of the classrooms? You go into
we do.
Oh, you do?
We go into all of the classrooms, and we get referred individual students as needed, the ones who are having more of a problem, either a behavioral problem, or maybe if teacher knows that there was a death in the family and that's why the child is not paying attention. We get really good ratings. At the end of the year, we get evaluated, and the parents are grateful, and the teachers always tell us they want us there more. But we can only be about a day at each school. So we run around day and a half. But it's very rewarding, and we have some amazing counselors at the school. I'm not a child psychologist, so I just really admire these people that they can perform magic in some of these situations. Children are really not doing well, and with a few sessions, they're on the right track again.
Wow.
So.
And your counselors do these programs within the schools, your counselors?
Yeah, our counselors, right. And they're supervised by me, but also they work with the teachers, with the nurse, with the principal. So they have to work well with people.
Right, right. And when they have to see a child individually, do they go to the school and do the sessions?
It's all at the school, right, yeah. It's at the school. So we do our program at the agency, but we also go to the Scotch Plains Fanwood schools. We also go to up to 15 different non-public schools. We have a contract with Union County Educational Services Commission, and that is for us to provide counseling to students who are in non-public schools who are classified, and their IEP states that they should be getting counseling, and they're required by state that they be provided that counseling by the state. But there's nobody there at at their private school to provide it. So we go from school to school, and we might see one kid or two kids at each school, and we help them. We do what's needed. So
how often do you do that? How often?
Well, weekly.
Weekly.
So we didn't start yet, but
Right.
starting in a week or so, we'll go, and we'll probably have 8 schools to go to, and there might be more. There's a lot of non-public schools in Union County, a lot.
It sounds like that alone would keep you all busy.
Yeah, but it's small potatoes, because you go and you see one kid.
Yeah.
But we do
Do you
it.
have to repeat and go back and see them again?
Right,
You have to do that?
because they might need half an hour every week, usually typical. So we might see 1 or 2 or 3 children at the same school, but somebody has to do it, because they require the services, and by law they have to receive the services, and we are the ones to get it to them.
And what did you do in the high? I know you're not in the high school anymore, but when you were in the high school, was it similar programs? Was it one-on-one mostly, or was it?
It was one-on-one. This classroom guidance program just started 5 years ago. And it's really great, because this way all the kids get to know us, and if there's a problem, they're not reluctant to come see us, and they're not embarrassed about it. Talk about embarrassed, that used to be an issue at the higher levels, that they didn't want to come see a counselor.
Right, right. So it's
to
not
get
just
out
the
of class.
husbands,
It's the children
kids
too, yeah.
too.
The
They-
moms usually are okay with it. Yeah,
They're like, I get it. Oh, that's good. Well, I know that in order to keep all these programs up, there's fundraising that needs to go on, right?
Yeah,
and you have some events coming up, right?
We have some events coming up. Every year we do an annual appeal, and we do a mailing to the community.
And that goes out to the town.
To people who have been friends of Resolve in the past, who we think might want to contribute.
And what if you have not been contributing to Resolve, but you would like to? How would you do that?
Call us.
Okay.
Call Cheryl Weiss, our office manager, who is the most wonderful office manager, and our number is 908-322-9180.
Okay.
And she will tell you how to go about it, or you could go on our website, which is www.resolvenj.com.
Terrific. Terrific.
And if you have any questions of more of a psychological nature, you could also go on the page that says Ask Dr. Abrams. Just make sure you leave your email in there, because I don't answer right on the website. I answer individually to your email address. So you could ask me questions, and I will do my best to answer them.
I saw that page. That's a great thing, because talk about, you know, getting used to it before you go in, or finding out what it would be like. You could just go and ask you a question and see what, you know, get an answer to get you started. So that might get your foot in the door.
Sometimes it's helpful, but really I can say it's a comfortable experience going there. We really treat people nicely, and we accommodate everybody, and we really try to, if we can provide a service, we try to find the right place that could provide it, and we take our job seriously, and we like our job.
I can tell. I can tell.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
In your
Thank
fundraising
you.
efforts and in the coming year,
Well,
too.
we'll keep doing it. We'll stick in there.
I appreciate you coming here to talk to us tonight. Dr. Lydia Abrams from Resolve Community Counseling Center right here in Scotch Plains. This is from the Scotchwood, and I am Kara Shovlin. Thanks so much for watching, and thanks to the Scotchwood here in Scotch Plains. See you next time.